So there you have it. The charges dropped against the former president. I have a lot of questions about this, and of course, whenever we have big questions, we go to our legal analyst, Barry Markson. He's also a host at KTAR News. Barry, thanks for doing this, man, as always.
Good to be with you, Mike. How are you?
Good, but I'm a little confused, and I want to get some clarification on this. The charges being dropped here, can you explain, give us the layman's terms of what this means for why was this decision come to, and what does it mean?
Well, what it means for right now is that the Mar-a-Lago document case against former President Trump has been dismissed, so it's gone. So there'll be no more litigation or anything as far as the lower court, no more discovery going forward at this time. My expectation is the special counsel's office will file an appeal of this, and we'll see that in the coming days. The basis for this, according to Judge Cannon, is that it's through the appointments clause of the Constitution. And basically what she's saying is that the special prosecutor himself, the office of the special prosecutor, is unconstitutional, that it was not established with congressional authority, and therefore anything that comes from that, any prosecution from the special prosecutor's office, is invalid, and that's why she dismissed the case. It's something that's been litigated in other cases before, Mike, and in each of those cases, the courts have found that the appointment of the special prosecutor was legal and constitutional. It should be pointed out that there have been special prosecutors and special prosecutor offices from many, many, many presidents over the last several decades, including President Trump, who had several separate special prosecutors' offices investigating different things throughout the course of his time in office. So this is very unique. It's a somewhat new and novel theory that's been postulated by several conservative legal groups. It was recently cited by Justice Clarence Thomas in the Trump immunity case, a presidential immunity case, in a footnote, which potentially gave it some additional weight, I suppose. And now we have Judge Cannon dismissing the case based on that.
So if this were to progress, let's say this goes through the courts, the appeals process, and reaches the Supreme Court, if the Supreme Court were to side with Judge Cannon, would there be a lot of cases that would have to be retroactively dropped and changed?
It would depend on how the court ruled. I mean, so if the court said this is only going to be going forward, then the answer to your question would be no. But if the court found that was unconstitutional, then potentially yes. It could open up a big can of worms where everybody prosecuted through a special prosecutor's office or special counsel's office, those cases could be reopened and looked at again to determine whether or not that particular prosecutor was appointed constitutionally. Frankly, none of them are appointed constitutionally, or most of them haven't been appointed with congressional authority. So it would be a big issue going forward.
Barry Markson is joining us. He's the KTAR News legal analyst. He's also a host here on the station. And we are talking about the U.S. court judge dropped the case this morning, saying that the special counsel, Jack Smith, did not have standing to bring charges. And so moving forward, what are the chances that the U.S. government looks at this and does not see a likelihood of conviction, and they end up dropping this case?
I'd be shocked if the government dropped the case here. This was the strongest. I think everybody agreed. This was the strongest of the criminal cases brought against the former president. This also, it's a shocking rebuke of the special counsel's office, which the Justice Department has used, again, for decades. So I fully expect there to be an appeal, and they'll take that all the way through to the Supreme Court if necessary. It does remove this case from Trump's calendar. I mean, I don't think there was any real risk that the Mar-a-Lago case is going to go to trial before the election anyway, Mike. But now there's zero chance of that happening. It's been dismissed. So, but I think you're going to see an appeal for sure, and the appellate courts will get involved in this. And potentially, if you remember last time there was a case against Trump in front of Eileen Cannon in Florida, when it got up to the appellate court, the circuit court there really rebuked Judge Cannon in a really an over-the-top way. It's something we don't normally see. This is the first time that the judge has made a decision that is subject to appeal. So now all the things we've been hearing about with Judge Cannon, where people are questioning many of her decisions and how long things have been taking, now all of that gets to be, or at least some of that gets to be in front of the appellate court, which could have additional ramifications in this particular case.
So is it possible for them to change the special counsel and get somebody that's already been certified, or however the process works, or have him go through the process of being nominated and then go through the Senate?
Yes, so they could appoint the special prosecutor. They could go to the Senate for approval. Theoretically, they would get that because at least right now the Senate's controlled by the Democrats, and then they could start again. But the new special prosecutor would have to file a new lawsuit. We'd start from scratch. But yes, that absolutely could happen. That would be an option.
So we're talking either way. We're talking now an extended period of time before this is really determined.
Yes, I mean the appellate court. I mean, in a normal appeal like this, it would take a year or more. Could the Court of Appeals expedite here? And obviously this is a case of national importance. Yes, and they've done that in the past. So this certainly could be expedited on the appeal. But nothing's going to happen between now and the election. Most likely, this case is dead for now. And then, of course, there's the option that if former President Trump wins the election, whether he instructs or his new attorney general instructs or closes down the whole special prosecutor's office anyway and kills this case regardless. So this is great news for President Trump. No matter how you slice it, it doesn't mean the case is dead, but it's certainly dead for now, and it does give him the time he needs to win the election.
Barry, I always appreciate the expertise, and man, we call on you on short notice, and you're always available. So I thank you for that.
My pleasure, Mike. Have fun this weekend at the convention.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun week. Thanks, man.
Thanks for watching the Mike Broomhead Show. Catch up on Amazing Arizonans, a KTAR News podcast, and click the button in the middle to subscribe.